And good afternoon. Welcome to the booth with Darren and Todd on KDX AM 1590. Thank you for making us part of your day. I'm very excited to be with our next guest. If you do not know him or his foundation, you have got to get in touch with it. It is Mr. Scott Kruse. Scott Kruse is here representing Ben Kruse, 18 for Life. Scott, may I call you Scott?
Absolutely.
Scott, welcome to the booth.
Thank you. This is nice. I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Scott, for those of the listeners who don't know you, tell the listeners a little bit about Scott Kruse.
Oh, man. I grew up in Dexter. Loved this town. Went to several colleges, played some sports. Got into restaurant management for about 4 months and realized I needed to go back to school and be a coach and teacher. And so I spent almost 30 years in education and retired with my wife just a year ago and enjoying retirement.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590. Privileged to be joined by Scott Kruse for the Ben Kruse 18 for Life. For those of you who are not familiar with that, it's a charity that helps raises money for those in the area who are battling, if not the worst disease, in my opinion, it is the worst disease, that being cancer. Scott, tell me a little bit about how this 18 for Life came about. It's a great story. You know, I've done some research. I got on your internet page and things of that nature. Tell the listeners a little bit about how this all started.
Yeah, I think a lot of people know our story, but it's my favorite topic. And started back in 2000. I played golf up in St. Louis at a tournament for a high school kid, a student of one of my former friends that played sports. We raised money that day. I got a free T-shirt. I didn't play golf at the time, but I had a blast. And me, my best friend Kip Musgraves, my brother Ben, and his best friend at the time, Jake Barge, we were sitting around real late one night, and we said we ought to throw together a golf tournament and do something like that. And Bruce Christian, who's now kind of my brother-in-law, married to Ben's former wife, Amy. We started talking, organizing, and we put on the first event in 2001, I guess, and didn't know what we were doing. It was a success. We didn't know what to do with the money. We chose the V Foundation. They, at the time, Jim Valvano was a basketball coach. I was a basketball coach. We got a lot of the coaches in the area to participate, and we thought that was a good fit. We sent the money off and called it an event. And I had a man here in town, most people know Dale Stites, said, "Kruse, why aren't we helping people around here?" And that question got us talking and thinking. I had a basketball player over at Twin Rivers, and we literally were watching his mom die of cancer, and they didn't have much. They chose to kind of live off the land. And I told my wife, if we sent a little bit of this to them, no one would ever care. And that love offering kind of sparked the idea, and from there we just said, you know, let's help people around here that we know that are suffering and fighting. And it took off from there. It really that when people started realizing that, they started knowing someone that got help, and we send a note along with a check, and it's kind of cool because people really, I think they are touched by the fact that people that they didn't know were praying for them, were thinking about them, sending a lot of positive vibes and prayers. I think it did more than what we thought it was going to do.
Absolutely. And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Scott Kruse. Scott, I didn't even ask you, what technically do you say is your title now with the foundation? I apologize for not asking that earlier. Are you the executive director? Where are you at right now on that?
Oh, that's a great question because we have a lot of fundraisers. It's been great. A lot of people have organized some really big events that I hope to talk about. Our foundation is the Ben Kruse 18 for Life Foundation, and I guess I don't care for titles, but I guess I would say I'm the chairman.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Loop with Aaron Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Scott Kruse. You know, Scott, as I look through this list, you said back in 1999, 2000, it was you, your good friend Kip Musgrave, who I'm very familiar with. Kip, you know, I own a store down in Kennett. Kip and I have a relationship. And then your brother Ben and also Jake, his best friend, got together. And I was looking through it, and I saw your mission statement. And I was very touched by the mission statement. You know, 18 for Life will get as many people together as possible to play golf. We will celebrate the gift of life by helping others in need while raising as much money as possible. And I think the one thing that I'm very impressed is all this money stays locally now. Is that correct?
Yeah, we you know, early on, like I said, we were sending it all off for just a year or two, and Dale saying that to me really struck me. And then you start realizing that all of us know someone. And so we define local family or area family as anyone who has a connection with our charity. So your grandpa might live in New Mexico, and we don't care where he's sleeping at night. It's your grandpa, and you know about 18 for Life, and hopefully you support this in some way. And we really are on the mission to raise the money and not let it sit there. We wanted to get it in people that need it, whether it's gas, you know, hotels, travel. It's amazing. I'm keeping the electric on, keeping the water on, making a car payment so that they can get somewhere. We've had people say, you know, I used it to take my kids on a trip, and we don't care. We want them to use it how they need it. We have people send it back and say that surely there's someone that's more in need. It's been really cool. It's 25 years of I keep every thank you note and then letter, and it's in a huge tub, and it just I put them all in there, and every now and then you'll go picking through there, and you just see some really cool stuff.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Aaron Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Scott Kruse, here representing the Ben Kruse 18 for Life Foundation. And Scott, as I was looking through the information, you know, this is 25 years, but it's my understanding that you have given over $3.4 million to people who are battling this horrible disease. I mean, that is absolutely amazing. Did you, when you started this with Kip, Jake, and Ben, did you ever say, we're going to give out $3.4 million?
No, we wanted to have a party, and we wanted to know that we were like doing something good, adding, you know, just doing something good. That's what we said. We're like, this will be a win-win. We'll get to, you know, hang out with a bunch of friends, and whatever happens, we'll give it away, support something good. We need to update our website. We're over 4.2 million now.
Oh my goodness, 4.2. That's amazing.
We did that right before the banquet this year. So our 25th anniversary, you know, was a real reason to celebrate.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Aaron Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Scott Kruse for the Ben Kruse 18 for Life Foundation. And Scott, that first event, basically it was you guys getting together and saying, hey, we're going to have a golf tournament. Is that correct?
Yeah, Jake's dad, John, was the golf pro out here in Dexter, and you gotta think about this, about how it grew in 3 or 4 years. We went from, you know, I think it was 30 teams to 50 teams. We packed the course. John basically said, have at it, do whatever you need to do. He just said things that most golf pros would not allow. And then after that 4th year, it really blew up. You know, almost 400 people on one course in one day. I can't find a bigger event. And you look back and go, well, John Barge allowed that, or it would have been fewer people.
And forgive me for not knowing this, but when you first started and you had the golf tournament, did you always have the banquet that evening as well, or was that something that you added on at a later date?
Yeah, good questions. We thought we were running the Masters, and it was only an afternoon tournament, but we went from 30 to 36, 38. By the fourth year, there was about 50 teams. We were playing eightsomes, and that turned into a real fun idea. But that was the last tournament I got to play with my brother. He passed away in August after that event, and we spent that next calendar year, in a fog. But we realized, we need to do something a little bit. My brother always told me, he's like, Scott, Dad's really good friends with Norm Stewart, who's a legendary MU basketball coach. And he's like, if Dad would just ask Norm, he'd play in it. And sadly, that was kind of part of the banquet. It was kind of part of the memorial. We didn't want to call it a memorial tournament. We just wanted it kind of be assumed. But Norm came and spoke at the banquet, and he came and played golf the next day, and we added the morning flight. So we added about 30 teams in the morning along with 50 in the afternoon. It blew up along with that banquet, and that sparked a whole, another, that weekend's like two great events. If you come to the banquet and golf, it's a full weekend of 18 for life.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Aaron Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Scott Kruse from the Ben Kruse 18 for Life Foundation, talking about the $4.2 million that they have now given out to battle this horrible disease, cancer, that strikes so many people in the area. There's no way that you could talk to someone who's not been affected through a loved one having themselves. And Scott, you brought up something, and I don't know how much you want to touch on it, but in 2004, it's my understanding that your brother Ben passed away. Is that correct?
Yeah. We lost Ben on August 14th. He was full of life, and this was a big he wasn't the greatest volunteer. He was there for the party, and he loved knowing we were doing something good. He just absolutely loved it. But he started calling all his old college buddies. He started rounding up the troops, and that last year, I told everyone we needed to be there at 8 a.m. for a noon tea time. And I think he showed up at about 11 and went to bed way early in the morning. And, he's got a famous quote. Him and Bruce were the golfers on our team. And Bruce said, Scott is going to be so mad. And Bruce said, Ben said, you need to remember Scott sucks at golf. And by the third hole, he won't care that we were late. So we felt like that was a typical Ben quote. But yeah, his loss obviously still impacts us, but I feel like it's a great example of taking something bad and turning it into something as good as we could have.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Aaron Todd on KDX AM 1590. Gracious enough to get some time with Scott Kruse for the Ben Kruse 18 for Life Foundation. They've given over $4.2 million to battle cancer throughout this area. Scott, tell me a little bit about the banquet. The banquet is such an amazing event. And, when we first talked and we tried to schedule this, I was telling you that you can think of some great events in Southeast Missouri. You think of the Sykeston JC's Boot Hill Rodeo with the type of entertainment they bring in. But the 18 for Life is second to none. I mean, last year, didn't we have, was it Mike Matheny that was here?
Yes, sir.
The guests are unbelievable that are come in for that banquet. Just tell me a little bit about how that's evolved.
Yeah, well, when we had Norm speak, he was just wonderful. And again, that was a relationship with my dad that went way back. So that that had us going, well, if we're going to keep doing this, we're going to provide a meal and maybe call that entertainment, or at least a program. And so over the years, we started realizing, man, this is a big deal, and you start finding out that that's a whole market in itself of people, that go around and motivate you and inspire you, and so we've had about half our speakers where we went out and used a marketing team and found them, and then we've had about half that you just use relationships. And hey, I know, I'll give you a good example. The movie Soul on Fire is out last weekend about John O'Leary.
Right.
Josh Bogus is a Dexter resident who now lives in St. Louis, went to school with John, was best friends. And one Sunday morning after an event, I got a message from Josh and said, hey, next year, I think you should look into having my buddy John O'Leary. I looked up the story. I didn't know it. And once you YouTube it, it's amazing. And so we literally had him booked a couple weeks after an event, which was a record. We usually spend a lot of the calendar year finding him. And so he was amazing. We've had, I can't remember them all. I didn't list them out coming here, and I knew I would have trouble remembering, Whitey Herzog, Merrill Hodge, Rocky Blyer, Invincible, Vince Papali. We've had some really cool. Matheny was absolutely amazing. He's a class act. He's one of those gentlemen that is truly a good human, and you can tell it's not a fake. I feel like he lives it.
And again, we're here on Welcome to the Loop with Aaron Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Scott Kruse from the Ben Kruse 18 for Life Foundation, talking a lot about the golf tournament and also the banquet that follows, an outstanding event. And Scott, is my understanding that the golf tournament and the banquet happens around the same time every year, or does it kind of move? I know that for scheduling purposes, it's almost like you've got to pick your date and go with it. Tell the listeners a little bit about when it is, and I'm assuming we're coming up for the 2026. And if you want to let any cats out of the bag about who we're going to have, we would love to know that. Of course, I understand that whatever you want to do, Scott.
Yeah, so we started out, it was, I think, the last Saturday in July, and the thing got so big that we picked the first Saturday in June and kind of stuck with it for what reasons that you said. This has turned into a reunion. This has turned into people getting a plane ticket or driving across some states and coming back home or coming to visit Dexter, Missouri. And so we picked it next year. I think it's June 6th is the golf banquet's on the 5th. And so we wanted people just to, if they're planning a family vacation, they can't always get around vacations and weddings, and we call those excused absences. But, most people kind of block off that time. And again, a lot of people enjoy the banquet on Friday and get ready to play golf on Saturday.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Loop with Aaron Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Scott Kruse from Ben Kruse 18 for Life Foundation. The 2026 golf tournament and banquet are already scheduled. June 5th, 2026 will be the banquet. Saturday, June 6th, 2026 will be the golf. And Scott, you can't say enough about the Dexter Elks here and the fact that they have that banquet hall, and that's where it's always held. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. We don't see another place. They open their doors. They allow us to have almost 500 people. They cook amazing food. They get us through the line in about 20 minutes. It's ridiculous, and it's amazing. It's an amazing meal. But they also really take pride in the fact that they're our teammate in this, and they're great people. And that's the setup, and it works really well. But again, the size of the venue, it's just a perfect fit.
And, with the parking and the accessibility there on 2 Mile Road, it's an absolutely perfect location for the event. And, Scott, you say your partners. One thing that you couldn't do this without is some great sponsors. And I know that you want to mention those sponsors because without those sponsors, this event, while it still would be amazing, would not be the event it is today. I know you kind of want to run through that. Who are some of the sponsors that you have to give shout-outs to in regards to this?
Yeah, we'd be here till about 5 o'clock if I named all the families, the donations, the memorials. It is a blessing. We have a community that is a giving, supportive community, but we have some really big sponsors that go above and beyond. A Corp Media, Barry and his team down there, they really support us. Gill Group, W.W. Wood, Mathis Funeral Home, Bank of Advance, Allen Christian. They allow us to give away really cool pullovers, shirts, caps. We put together a gift bag, and our thinking is I want you to want to come back next year, even if it's for some really cool stuff, because it adds to the event, and your support matters. Mercy Hospital, Mercy Southeast, I guess, or Mercy Stoddard is what they call themselves now. They sponsor our banquet. They bring a huge group down from Cape. They are really on board, and it's special. Coalfield Distributing keeps everybody hydrated. They're out of Cape and Jackson, and Randy Kinder Excavating and Matt Mills at Legacy Companies. They really provide a lot for us, along with, again, all of them. I feel like the families, the businesses, the individuals, they do what they can. I feel like they trust us. They a lot of them know people that have been helped directly, and I think they almost know that whatever donation and support they give, they know where it's going, and that's our mission.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Aaron Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Scott Kruse from the Ben Kruse 18 for Life Foundation. They have given over $4.2 million in the 25 years that they have been around with this tournament and banquet. And we're going to talk about some of the other things they've expanded to. The banquet for next year is scheduled for June 5th, 2026. The golf is scheduled for June 6th, 2026. If you've not got your tickets, they will be available soon. One thing, Scott, I have not talked about, and I should have, is you have an amazing website that you can type in 18 for Life, and it brings up all the extremely... It's one of the best websites I've seen in a long time as far as just giving out information, what you're doing and what your purpose is. So people really need to get on there. It also allows people, if they want to donate, they can donate. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. My buddy, David Robinson, he's down in Atlanta. He's always done our video. One thing on the video is that if people just want to go really see what we're doing, is they could click on any of the videos that it's on our website. He kind of recaps the last year, usually tells some type of story. He has done some amazing work, and those videos are all on our website. But we just try to, try to, and I said we need to update the numbers, but we try to just make it an easy click to say, here's our story, here's what we do, and it does have buttons to contact us, and that's the simplest way to give us a name and an address of a loved one or a friend or a co-worker who's battling cancer, and then the donate. Obviously, you donate, and it's an easy way to just send a donation, and we get good traffic online, and that's nice. David does an amazing job in everything he does.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Loop with Aaron Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Scott Kruse from the Ben Kruse 18 for Life Foundation, giving over $4.2 million to help battle this horrible disease, cancer. We've talked about the Friday, June 5th, 2026 banquet will be at the Elks Lodge there on 2 Mile Road in Dexter, Missouri. The golf, and I apologize to you guys, June 6th, 2026 will be it takes place at the Country Club here in Dexter. Is that correct?
Yeah, we always, I should have said that. John Barge was the golf pro at Hidden Trails Country Club, and it's in great shape. It's under great leadership now, and really a good layout, good course. And like I said, I'm searching for a larger 1-day, 1-course scramble because we get so many golfers through 56 teams in the afternoon, 36 in the morning. You don't hear about that. So,
and one thing, Scott, is a lot of the golfers realize, this event is about camaraderie, friendship, and having a good day. It's not necessarily everybody loves to play golf. Everybody likes to have fun with scrambles. But, with that many people on the course, you're going to have a little time to really say, hey, what's going on? And talk to the people. It's almost like a homecoming, like you said, which is one of the coolest things about the event is, don't get me wrong, I love to win like everybody else. But this event is about more than just winning. It's about a day of really focusing on what's important, correct?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We have what we call not so famous tan jackets that we give to the winners, and they get to embroidery their names or a logo or whatever. They take it to an embroiderer and get that done. But 90% of the teams are out there and it could care less. Some of them don't turn in a scorecard. My dad's group is a great example of what this has turned into. They're 80 years old. They went to high school together. There's 8 of them. We play in eightsomes, and they divide up into 2 teams, and they spend the whole day together, and it's really cool. And we've got a lot of that. We got younger teams that I see that I maybe coached against, or I watched grow up, or maybe I taught or coached, and I'm watching them do exactly what we intended this to do and to be.
And again, we're going to welcome the booth with Aaron Todd on KDX AM 1590. Scott Kruse from the Ben Kruse 18 for Life Foundation is gracious enough to give us about an hour of his day today talking about the golf tournament and also the banquet. Scott, there's other things that are also involved that you also do as far as it's my understanding there's the Ben Kruse Crappie Tournament. Is that still going on, as well as the Hits for Hope and the St. Jude Marathon? The mouse races, which we've got to talk about. I'll tell you a funny story about the mouse races if you want to hear it. So, my good friend Melinda Harris, who's from Kennett, she bleeds black and gold. Don't get me wrong. She was gracious enough to be able to come up here with the Pixleys.
Correct.
And there was a mouse race, and she thought this was the most unique thing ever. And I think I love it because when I was in college at Southeast Missouri State, I was a Phi Delta, and we had the Rowdy Rat races, in which we also did this. This is the greatest thing you've ever done. Auctioning off these mice and then racing them. Tell me how you came up with that. That is ingenious, Scott. That's absolutely ingenious.
I can't remember. I do. I had a cousin that said, you need to come over to Poplar Bluff, I think to the Eagles, and he said, you need to see a mouse race because we may want to do this. And we took a group over there, and it's like bowling. You can't not have fun. We had a blast. We contacted the company and said we'd like to book a date in Dexter, and it is the craziest thing. It's a blast, and it's also a true social event. You literally stand around talking the whole time. It just so happens that every now and then there's a little mouse race that goes on. You watch and laugh and cheer, and it's really hilarious. It's turned into a neat fundraiser in the winter time when there's not a whole lot else to do typically.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Aaron Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Scott Kruse from the Ben Kruse 18 for Life Foundation. Talking a lot about the $4.2 million that the foundation has given out in the battle of cancer. Started with Scott Kruse, Ben Kruse, Jake Barge, and Kip Musgrave back in 1999. Been doing it for 25 years. Absolutely amazing the amount of growth it has had. And, I was talking, and I've already mentioned this once with Scott. I was like, I think of some major events in Southeast Missouri. I think of the Boot Hill Rodeo, and I think of this because of the keynote speakers and just the amount of people that come and support this event. And we were talking a little bit more about some other things. What's going on with the Ben Kruse Crappie Tournament? Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, we just had that. My brother got me into golf, and then as I grew to love golf, he started loving fishing. It was the wildest thing. He still played golf very well, by the way, but he started really loving fishing. Our grandpa used to take us crappie fishing all the time. Well, Bruce married Ben's former wife, Amy. It's been a wonderful deal. It's like he's done a great job filling some huge shoes. Bruce and Amy said, we're going to do a fishing tournament. This would be a large group of people that maybe are likely not golf, and we're going to reach a whole bunch of people. And it's a different community. You see new faces. They're battling cancer too, and they know people that are battling cancer. They basically put on a real great event. It's the largest fishing tournament over in Wapapella. I think they've been up to 140, 50 boats. It just happened. It's the first weekend, I believe, in September, and just a really cool thing. I think it's the same thing. I think people that maybe aren't serious fishermen, they may grab their buddy in the boat and go hang out for the morning and come in at around noon and, again, hang out, eat some good food, and know that, if they won something, that's great. But I think they know that it's for a good cause. So that's been a great event. Bruce and Amy and their team do an amazing fishing tournament.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Aaron Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Scott Kruse, representing the Ben Kruse 18 for Life Foundation. And Scott, as we kind of go down, the next thing is Hits for Hope. What exactly is the Hits for Hope?
Hits for Hope is a pink volleyball game. We have a set of pink uniforms. If a local school wants to host an event, we get those uniforms to them. Dexter plays with a pink ball. It's just an idea to, one of the greatest things that happens is when we get young people to see this and support this. It's very heartwarming, and you look at the good in these young people, and you think positive about the world and where we're headed, and those kids, I think they feel like they're playing for it's not just a normal night in the gym. Bernie, Bell City, Dexter hosts events, and they do a great job. Bell City just had an event, and a former player of mine from Bell City, his little boy's name's Rex Walters. He raised money by going around the gym and doing push-ups for donations. And he raised $258. And the little boy, it's just so cool to see a little 7, 8, 9-year-old that, because we helped out his grandmas, plural, he wants to help give back, and that's so cool. But the volleyball matches are really cool. Dexter and Bernie and Bell City, they do it. Richland's been another school. Holcomb, I believe, has hosted one at one time. So again, Dexter does a Courts for Cancer. They used to do a Swing Pink on the softball field. They still do a Tackle Cancer, and these coaches, sponsors, kids, it's just really cool. I mean, everyone enjoys watching people put their efforts towards something, positive. And
again, we're on Welcome to the Loop with Aaron Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Scott Kruse from the Ben Kruse 18 for Life Foundation. And Scott, we talked earlier on, you were a longtime coach, administrator. I think that everyone would say that coaching is probably one of the most influential way you can touch young people, in my opinion. Sometimes there's also art instructors, there's band directors, things of that nature. But you indicated that this all started because, is it my understanding that you had a student whose mother was going through something? Kind of explain that. And I don't want to get too personal because I know sometimes it's emotional, but I think the whole way you developed this and the way it's grown is just amazing to me.
Well, it's a God thing. That's it. We didn't know what we were doing. We've never been behind this. Someone else has, and I feel like, when Ben passed and you see other people who were huge supporters or participants, they passed. I always feel like there's an 18 for Life event going on in heaven that weekend. They're all watching, cheering us on. It's a cool thing. The God thing that happened, was Dale Stites saying he didn't really care if we were sending our money to some basketball coach in North Carolina. And he was real blunt, and it kind of took me back because we felt like we were doing something really good, and we were, and he wasn't being critical in that way. He was saying, I can really get behind something when I know it's going to be helping people that I know and see. And the second part to that God thing was this beautiful family who just, again, they lived a simple life. And when you sit there and thought, I bet they could use some money to drive and go take these treatments wherever they're going, and you're watching a mom, have help to get into the bleachers to watch her son play basketball, and our whole team is kind of experiencing this. His comment, and then we just kind of tested the waters, and that felt so great. That felt better than sending the money off to the V Foundation, as good of an organization as I still believe that is. It felt so great to get a thank you, and you could almost feel the emotion by reading the note. And I'm thinking, man, this has got to shift and be our mission now. They'll raise their own money. I mean, they have an event and raise $15 million in a night. We're grassroots, but we can still make an impact.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Aaron Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Scott Kruse from the Ben Kruse 18 for Life Foundation. And for those who are not aware, the foundation has given over $4.2 million to help battle cancer, which is absolutely amazing. Friday, June 5th, 2026 is the banquet. It'll be held at the Dexter Elks, 2 Mile Road here in Dexter. And then the golf tournament will be here in Dexter, and it's Hidden Trails, correct?
Hidden Trails Country Club, yes, sir.
June 6th. If you've not played the event and if you've not been to the banquet, you're missing out. There's absolutely no excuse. It's one of the best events in all of Missouri, if probably not the United States. The speakers at the banquets are absolutely amazing, as indicated earlier. Whitey Herzog, Mike Matheny. There's been so many other that we can't even name them all because they're so amazing. And Scott, I know you're early in the planning stages, but I'm assuming it's going to be somebody absolutely amazing again this year. You don't have to tell me if you don't want to. I understand. I like suspense as much as you do, because sometimes it's like Christmas morning. You want to tell everybody, kind of like you're the keeper of the genders. With these gender reveal parties, you are the keeper of the speaker, and nobody's going to pry it out of you. Is that correct?
Well, it takes some work. Last year we had plan A, B, C, D, and we were all over the place. You get into schedules, you get into airplane rides, it's a lot. For about the last 15, 16 years, people have left the banquet telling me, like, you're not going to do better than that, and I'm thinking, I'm feeling that. But we've got some really cool things in the works. I don't know where it's going to go. I never do. But again, when I say it's a God thing, if I could go back and tell you how we landed a lot of these people and how things fell into place, and how at times it feels like I don't even know if we're going to have a guest speaker, and then we end up with someone people are saying you can't do better than that. It's a God thing, because we're not in charge. So I try to not feel pressure with that, because I look at it as it's going to be a great. I've even told really big names before. It's like, we're going to fill the room whether you're there or not. And I'm not bragging or being conceited. This is a reunion. This is a homecoming. It's like a wedding reception meets a little bit of church. We're there to hug people that a lot of times we only see them one time a year. And the biggest challenge at the banquet is getting everyone to sit down and be quiet. It's amazing, and they know that good things are coming, but I think the best things are happening in these circles of people just talking and catching up.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Scott Kruse from the Ben Kruse 18 for Life Foundation, talking about the banquet and the golf tournament. We mentioned a little bit about the Ben Kruse Crappie Tournament that's always, I believe, the first weekend in September at Lake Wapapella. You can get on the website and find out more information about that. We talked a little bit about the mouse races, which is still one of my favorite things that you've ever done. I think that's absolutely amazing. But you also have a little Kentucky Derby type party. Now, Scott, please tell me that you're wearing your best seersucker suit, and then all the ladies are wearing their nice Kentucky Derby hats.
We did. That's kind of one of those great events that's kind of been retired. What happens is we all have kids, and so we organize these events. Well, then that time of the year doesn't fit with having a large group of kids grow up, and so you kind of retire. We haven't had that derby party in a while. We used to do 10 pins for Ben, and we raised hundreds of thousands for St. Jude. Jim Rainey with the Bank of Advance got behind that. That's kind of been retired. So we've had some really great Claws for a Cause. Julie Dodd out of Bloomfield. She would hire this beautiful man who looked like the greatest Santa ever in real life, who since 1 week helped him battle his cancer with a love offering or two, and he since passed. So that, along with her just getting to the point saying, I think I'm going to retire this. But, over the years, she raised well over $200,000 by taking beautiful kids' pictures with a Santa Claus, and it became a community event. People looked forward to it, and it was a beautiful thing. Laura Glotty and Kyle Jones, her mom and dad and sister all passed away from cancer, and over the years we had helped them out. And I didn't know these folks. My brother, it turns out, was kind of an old soul. We're a farm family. Well, Larry Jones was just a good old farming man, and they're just a great farm family. And my brother knew Larry. I didn't know that. And so there's just all kinds of connections there. Well, she and Kyle, her brother, put on a Larry and Kathy Jones Hope campaign, and they do a huge fish fry, a huge T-shirt sale. They've raised over $200,000 over the years, and again, send it to 18 for Life, knowing what we do. And they're also great to find people that are that they know that are battling this. So that's been a great one. That one's still going on, and they do a great job as well.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, being joined by Scott Kruse from the Ben Kruse 18 for Life. The Ben Kruse 18 for Life Foundation has given over $4.2 million to battle cancer. The 2026 banquet will be held Friday, June 5th, 2026, at the Elks Lodge here in Dexter, 2 Mile Road. If you haven't got your tickets, get online, figure out when you can get your tickets. Also, the golf tournament will be at Hidden Trails Golf Country Club in beautiful Dexter on June 6th, 2026. You need to also come to that. Scott, obviously, Ben has passed away, but this was originally started by you, Ben, Jake, and Kip. Do the other 3 guys still have a pretty prominent role, or the other 2 guys, do they still obviously come around and play golfs and things of that nature?
Oh, man. Kip's my buddy, lifelong friend. He works for Kofeld, and that happens. Kofelds are great people. They've played in it. They've supported it from year one. It's just an automatic.
Yeah, and Mike Kofelds, you can't find a better man
Mike
than Mike
and Mark
Kofeld.
are just amazing, and it's kind of like, what do y'all need? Kip's, Bruce and Amy, Christy Booker and her kids always are right there neck deep in everything. So we have, again, our army of volunteers it's kind of crazy. We have a group of girls, they call themselves the Party Girls on hole 17. They make a lot of fun, raise a lot of money out on the course. My wife's got a group that, have something going on the course. They spend their day out there making money. Stacy Hill has Birdies for Breast Cancer. They do a big thing out on the course. Amy and Kip's wife Lisa, and they get a group and they take team pictures and spend time raffling something off. We've got a lot of great help. And then you mentioned Jake. He's out in Oregon. He never misses an event. Flies in every year, makes a big deal out of it, and it's a great thing to. I watched him and Ben's friendship. I was 6 years older than Ben, and I watched that, and now I've kind of, tried to fill Ben's shoes with Jake, almost like Bruce kind of filled Ben's shoes for me. Right. And I don't think either one of us can pull that off, but we try, and it's really a cool thing. But yeah, that team's really there. Bruce was always like the fifth Beatle. He was really behind the scenes. Like, we wouldn't have been able to organize this without him. He was the guy. He was the golfer. He knew how to pull this. He still does. He still knows how to get 88 teams of 4 through 36 of them in the morning before 1, and then 56 of them before the sun goes down. And that's not easy. And so, we've got a wonderful team. It's not only our family, but this circle is huge, and I feel like we're just a huge family. It's everyone's got a role. If it's little, great. If it's big, thank you. But it all adds up to a really great event, and we can't do it without everybody.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Aaron Todd on KDX AM 1590. Talking to Scott Kruse from the Ben Kruse 18 for Life Foundation. Again, they've given over $4.2 million to the battle against cancer. And Scott, I think one more time as we're kind of winding down here, we got 4 or 5 minutes left. I think we need to run through those major sponsors again, because I know that while every sponsor is important, and if you want to become a major sponsor, I'm assuming there's always room that we can contact you guys and become a major sponsor or something of that nature. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah. Again, and I just any amount. No, we are grassroots. So you're not looking for a certain amount. You're asking. Most of these major sponsors don't even want me to mention their name. Most of these families write a check, or they may make a one-time donation, and it's not appreciated. It all adds up. We need it all. We don't have, when you say major sponsor, we don't have the John Deere Classic, to where we're covered. We kind of piece this thing together, but Barry at A Corp Media and the Gill Group and W.W. Wood, Mathis Funeral Home, Bank of Advance, Allen Christian, Mercy Stoddard, Coalfield Distributing, Randy Kinder Excavating, legacy companies. Matt Mills always been so supportive. And again, you start going down the list, and it is a long list, and those people really do reach a level of being a major sponsor. We had another, you wouldn't call this a sponsor, but my dad's classmate from high school, his name's Mike Gibson. He called Dad one day and he said, would Scott want to or be able to do anything with a 1967 GTO convertible? And my dad laughed and said, well, I'll ask him. And he knew the answer. And so we spent a whole year that set in Allen Christian showroom. We were trying to figure out the best way to give this car away, whether we go auction it, raffle tickets, draw. We didn't know. Sherm Smith here in town came and he appraised it. He's just like his dad, right? Big Sherm. He knows everything about cars. He did all the legwork, helped us out a lot. we raised $100,000, sold raffle tickets for 100 apiece, 1,000 of them. And we sold them until they were gone. And Drew and a lady out of Cape won that car here after this event this year. But Mike Gibson really got us ahead of the game with that. I would call it he's asking if he should maybe think about looking for a Corvette now to donate. So we may have round 2. I don't know.
Absolutely. Again, we're going to welcome the booth with Aaron Todd on KDX AM 1590. Having a great conversation with Scott Kruse from the Ben Kruse 18 for Life Foundation. Raised over $4.2 million and has been all given out to battle this horrible disease of cancer. The 2026 banquet will be Friday, June 5th at the Dexter Elks Lodge here in beautiful Dexter, Missouri on 2 Mile Road. Hidden Trails will host the golf tournament on June 6th. Come out, even if you're not a very good golfer, and believe me, Scott, I'm a horrible golfer. You play in these events like this, and it doesn't really even matter. You have so much fun, and you have such a good time. And, obviously I would love to win one of those ugly tan jackets. Don't get me wrong. If you feel sorry for me and just like to let me wear one time, I would love to do that. Take some pictures. I can tell my children, yes, your dad has finally won something. It'll be the tan jacket. But again, it's a great event. You've got to come out to it. There's so much going on. And one thing before we go, we're wrapping down, I would think, Scott, if you're having a bad day or you're thinking, things are going bad, you could just get into those thank you notes, the hundreds and thousands of thank you notes and letters that you've received from people who are battling this horrible disease and think, you know what, I am really, I just can't even put into words how great that must make you guys feel, just getting those letters.
Yeah, a lot of David's video work will show actual letters with names kind of blurred out so that we just I'm the lucky one there. They come to my house, I open them up, I read them, and when you realize that someone needed gas in their gas tank to go do a treatment and they got to do one 5 days a week, that whole idea started. I watched my wife's dad pass from cancer, and we had a short battle, but they were staying in hotel rooms and eating McDonald's, and I'm going, I didn't even know about insurance that well at the time. It was just about like living and supporting, and families, they need this however they need it. Insurance is a joke. It may be that is where this goes. But again, when you start talking about making a house payment or making a car payment, it's amazing. What's a common theme? And again, there's a God thing. The timing of those is what's the common theme. Like, I went to the mailbox and I didn't know how I was going to pay this bill, or I knew I had treatments coming up. That's the God thing in this, and that's the common theme. I mean, those don't hit at a bad time.
And as we're wrapping up here with Scott Kruse from the Ben Kruse 18 for Life Foundation on Welcome to the Booth with Aaron Todd on KDX AM 1590. Scott, I'm going to leave you with the last word. Is there anything you want to leave the listeners with before we sign off here today?
Oh no, this has been wonderful. I haven't got to do one of these in a long time, and it's really is my favorite topic. I get to talk about my brother, and I hope people know that they're just so welcome to be a part of this. And again, if they just want to come experience, that's what we want. I just love for people to just come see what we do at the banquet. If they would like to play golf or any of our events, or if they just know someone that's fighting, we want to raise money and get it to those people and have them hear from their loved ones and say, we have a lot of people not want to cash the check. They're like, is this real? And so then they'll hunt down their relative from Dexter and say, what's the deal? And when they find out, they're kind of blown away. And again, that's when you get a really cool thank you. But our community is great. Everyone can complain about a community and have little gripes, but when you're going through something tough, I promise you, if you live in the Boot Hill, you are from a town and an area that bands together and wants to help, and it's a powerful thing. It's a real powerful thing.
Absolutely. Again, we'd like to thank Scott Kruse from the Ben Kruse 18 for Life Foundation for spending 55 minutes or so with us today. Truly an outstanding honor. $4.2 million spent battling cancer. The banquet for next year is Friday, June 5th, 2026. The golf tournament at Hidden Trails in Dexter is June 6th, 2026. Please, 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 if you're able to donate, get on the website, donate. All the money stays locally. It helps those individuals battling this horrible disease, their family. So on behalf of Scott Kruse and the Ben Kruse 18 for Life Foundation and my producer, Maureen Johnson, and my executive producer, Evan Todd, thank you for joining us this afternoon. I hope you have an excellent afternoon and a better tomorrow.